Welcome to an Exile. We have Bernie Sanders during this committee meeting where he gets some things right at the very beginning about kids' mental health, being online too much. Then at the end, he completely poops the bed on the environment because it was the Democrats that mentally abused all of our society on that one. Let's get to it. Bernie Sanders.
In America today, 40% of parents report being either very or extremely worried that their child is struggling with anxiety or depression.
This is true. I know one of my four kids deals with anxiety. This is kind of the most fashionable problem that kids have today.
Nearly 1 out of every 3 teenagers in America reported that the state of their mental health was poor. 2 out of every 5 teenagers felt persistently sad or hopeless.
True. I think there's a lot of reasons why our kids' culture has been destroyed by media, by entertainment. They have no future. They have no job to go to. They have no true strife to go through. Their strife is all mental. They're not physically active. They're obese. They have quick access to cheap carbs. There's a lot of problems with kids. I can't name which one it is. I'm not just going to take my politics and fire at the other side and go, well, these are my preferred politics. Now I've got the answer. But I would think there's a lot of things wrong with the culture and environment that our kids are being raised in that is unnatural and abnormal.
All of us understand that the pandemic has had a huge and lasting impact on the mental health and well-being of our country and our young people.
Now, here's an example where Bernie is gaslighting you. He says the pandemic was the problem. It's not the pandemic, I believe. It was our response to the pandemic. See, pandemics happen. Doesn't mean that you have to make kids wear masks, sometimes even indoors. That's mental abuse. So, and whose party was that? Bernie, who did that? That was your party that mentally abused our kids.
Our kids have become less connected humanly to each other. And this is kind of a new phenomenon.
Also true that we are keeping our kids indoors and they're not having real life connections anymore. I don't think virtual connections work as well as the warmth of having a person in the room with you and playing together. That's just our society is moving to a digital, disconnected society.
Instead of building trusting, healthy, and strong relationships with their friends, their teachers, their mentors, an increasing number of our kids are turning to their phones and social media to feel connected.
Kind of ironic, hard for me to make fun of Bernie on this one because that's how you and I are connected right now, through the computer. I'd rather have you here, sitting here, having a drink with me here in my studio. I'd rather be there with you in your home, just hanging out, but we can't. I am connected to like 200,000 people, but only through this tube, through the tube. And there's something unnatural about that. It certainly isn't as deep as when I go inside and hang out with my wife or my kids or my real life friends.
And what type of impact does social media have on the mental health of our nation's youth? That's an issue that we have got to really explore at great length as a nation.
Not just youth, but our adults. We've never been on a drug like this collectively that we're all stuck on right now. This cell phone, largely new to our society, introduced in the last 15 years and now completely taken over everything. This is new. I don't think the human body or the human mind has acclimated to it, nor can we acclimate to it and not go through some depression.
According to a recent study, 32% of teen girls said that when they felt bad about their bodies, Instagram made them feel worse.
I'm not even a teen girl looking at my body. I don't even go on Instagram and it makes me feel worse.
More than 40% of Instagram users who reported feeling unattractive said the feeling began on Instagram. About 25% of teenagers who reported feeling not good enough, inadequate.
When you just had one neighbor, you had one person to compare yourself to. But now on social media, You have 100,000 people to compare yourself to.
We are up against some of the best minds in the world who keep coming up with new ways to get teenagers addicted to their websites in order to sell them more products and make more money that awaits them. They wonder if their political leaders in this country and around the world will address climate change.
Survey says, who made the kids terrified of the environment? The Democrats did it. Yeah, now they're terrified. And then now Bernie says they're wondering if the political leaders are going to do something about it. I'll tell you what the political leaders can do something about. Quit terrifying your kids about climate change. They use it all to terrify the kids of the weather, of a sun, of water coming down from the sky. They want to make sure the kids are terrified, whether if it's too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. Be terrified. I'm Doug in Exile.